Welcome back to Deep 10. I'm with Abizar Yonir Yahya and this is my partner.
My name is Coki Kalang.
We discussing essential everyday politics in less than 10 minutes. Still based on the perspective of young generation university students. Last episode with Nanda and Surya discussed about the salary gap of DPR RI versus Indonesian. And following that issue, there have been massive protests around the country. These protests led to riot. Yes, we have been saddened by recent news that they are victims. The first victim is Afan Kurniawan, an ojol driver who crossed the street not joining the protest, was hit by police Barakuda vehicle. And the list goes further. I will mention them one by one as a reminder that these people died because of this country failed to protect them. Andika Lutfi Falah, Reza Sendi Pratama, Sumari, Iko Julan Junior, Saiful Akbar, Sarinawati, Muhammad Akbar Basri, Rusdam Diansa, Septinus Sesa, rest in power. After the first riot, the movement 17+8 tuntutan rakyat spread online. It was started by some public figure like Afutami, Jeremy Pauline, and Salsa Erwina. The interesting part is the color used to convey information. It used pink and green.
Yes, this color carries symbolism, right? We learned in that school.
Right.
As far as I know, people in the representative or DPR need to get some protests. Like in the social media, I read some news that here is the breaking news about Ibu Ana. Yeah, she is a woman that being viral right now because of her protest in front of Gedung DPR wearing a pink veil in the middle of the riot, and she speak some protest and some express her anger to the Gedung DPR, especially to the people, especially in like Dewan Terhormat, if we speak in Indonesian like that. Yeah, so here I want to ask Abi, what do you think about this?
This color.
Yeah.
However,
the pink color as the symbolism of the protest from Ibu Ana.
Okay. However, this color become the debates among people in the internet. Some said that the pink one doesn't representative because of using harsh word in the protesting. And then there are people who claim to be the blue theme to represent neutral. What do you think?
Yeah, the color like blue or pink actually we call it as a polarization.
Polarization?
Yeah, do you know?
I think no.
Actually, polarization is like you people that split into some groups or community that the purpose of this agenda is to make it distrust or to make a pathways between or among people, so that the concentration would be spread around. Like the main focus is not being focused, like you will forget what you need to do as the people.
So it's like when politics turns into us versus them with no middle ground.
Yeah, something like that. And I think it's, as a student, we need to be critical, especially we are in college. Yeah, we are as a university student need to be critical and need to be focused. Like we have to stand, not being followed by some agenda or some agenda politic like that. So we have a critical thinking. That's what we learn in the university.
So why should we be worried about polarization?
What? Why you should?
So why should we be worried about polarization?
Yeah, because it will be dangerous for us, especially for people like, because when we want to express something or protest something, it will be uh, divided by some agenda. Yeah. So it would be make you don't get what you want, and also the representative or the lawmakers would be happy because you are part like inside. So yeah, that's what I think. We need to worry about polarization. So I think we need to avoid it.
So in a way, polarization isn't just accidental. So it can be a tool of power, right?
Yeah.
So I think let's talk about psychology. Why do people get so easily trapped in polarization?
Actually, why do people need to some in psychology, right? Here I read some papers. As far as I know from new of some journal or article,
Thank you.
It's because from human crave belonging. So when we identify strongly with the one group, we feel safe. But taking other side, then feels like protecting our identity. And it's emotional, I think. Yes, it's emotional because people don't just debate policies, but they feel personally attacked if someone disagrees. That's why arguments escalate so quickly. That's what I read here from the article.
So wait a minute. So it's about identity, right?
Yes, right.
And fear, emotion, and then not just a fact, you know. So about how do we overcome it? Now for the big question, how do we reduce polarization?
In my opinion, first by encouraging a dialogue. Yeah, people need to see that opponents are still human. Like their opponents need to be get along, and also they are not enemies. Yeah, they are still different, have different opinion with us, but we need to encourage them. So what I think about that.
Okay. So the answer is isn't to erase difference. So
Yeah.
but to manage them respectfully.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay, so today we'll learn that polarization is dangerous not only because it divides society, but because it weakens trust, democracy, and even personal relationship.
That's it.
And sometimes it's not just natural; it can be used as a tool to divide it and control. But with dialogue and critical thinking, we can resist manipulation. And with empathy, we can see each other as human again, not just opponents. Thank you for our listener. And I'm Abi.
And my
this-
name is Choki.
And thank you to our listener. Remember, difference don't have to mean division. This has been Deep 10. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious. Bye bye.
See you.